From Baton Rouge, Louisiana, this is the SEC Network. #1 Kentucky on the road for the second time this week to take on the Tigers of LSU at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. Carter Blackburn with Kyle Macy. Kentucky still undefeated in conference play, only one loss on the year. The 2 wins for LSU, both here at home in Baton Rouge. So LSU versus #1 Kentucky. Kyle, take us through our shelter insurance. To the rim. Hamilton misses the follow. That's 3 misses right at the rim for LSU. Lamb in transition.
Again, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist leading that.
Marcus Teague, the freshman from Indianapolis, will reset the offense for Kentucky. Teague hits his first look. Kentucky hits its first.
You see the Kentucky transition. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist looking at the floor, going to go to the basket, then he sees Deron Lamb spotting up deep in the corner. He gets that 3 to him in a practice session and broke a bone, just back now for the second game.
Missed 5 games total. Darius Miller off the curl to make it 8-2 Kentucky. Darius Miller. 6 to shoot for Kentucky. Teague to Terrence Jones, hand in his face. Jones hoists it right over the 6'9" Johnny O'Brien III. Hand right in his face. Terrence Jones, 10-4 Kentucky. Yeah, if Terrence Jones makes that kind of a jump, Kentucky would be a really scary team. And there's Terrence Jones with a block shot on Turner.
Well, and that's the thing with this year's team. It's different than last year's team. He's not going to score as many finishing. Again, not over explosive with the 2-handed dunk, but still got the job done.
Correct. And second bucket for Hamilton to go along with 2 rebounds.
Trend.
Darius Miller with the hook inside.
I mean, he's just so versatile. He attempts. Opponents have taken 132 free throws, while LSU's only taken 79. That's a minus 53 if you're a Tigers fan.
It over to Terrence Jones. That's the 3rd turnover by LSU, but back-to-back possessions.
Not a very good possession with a lot of players standing as Miller knocks down another 3 from the corner, but LSU, I'm sure Trent Johnson, this timeout, we'll talk about that. Too much one-on-one play. Got to get all 5 players involved. Kentucky on the other end. A good penetration by Terrence Jones. Pulls the defense. Allows Darius Miller to knock down a 3. The nation will be very happy. But, you know, there are some gaps, maybe the things that they need to work on, although that's not one of them. Great pass from the last set. LSU goes to a little bit of a zone. Anthony Davis going right down the middle. No rotation from the weak side. Come from Darius Miller, because he's the one player that a lot of times fans would like to see more emotion from. They feel like he's just kind of nonchalant sometimes and would disappear during the course of the game.
Anthony Davis bangs his head on the floor going for that loose ball. Davis very slow getting up. Still down on the floor. Kidd-Gilchrist also went down, but looked like Davis banged his head, and I believe on the floor, somewhere in there. Game, #1 Kentucky.
And LSU just out hustling Kentucky right now. That time diving for the loose ball to come up with it and start the break.
And Marcus Teague puts the 8 points, 5 rebounds in the first half for Johnny O'Brien. Stringer. Warren knocks it off of Hickey right into the hands of Terrence Jones. And the pinball game ends up with Terrence Jones with a layup. And now Kentucky's got it back to 7 points. Davis will check in at the next chance during this timeout, but still wincing Anthony Davis.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's the best of shape. I think maybe just going to give it a try. You know, and your shoulder and your back are kind of sore, and all of a sudden an assistant coach slaps you on the back. So we're trying to stretch that neck a little bit, you see.
For the timeout. Stringer finds a rolling Malcolm White, and there's Anthony Davis. Right back into the game. Makes a run.
Yeah,
he's back in.
It's like night and day. Just cleaning up everything, mistakes, and that's why Kentucky leads.
Hamilton, who had to sit the last 14 minutes of the first half, back on the floor for LSU. Davis gets his 2nd block. That's now 100 on the freshman season for Anthony Davis. And transition tips it to Terrence Jones. So a block. Said this defense creates offense.
Exactly. And you see just getting a piece of the ball, staying with it. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist able to pick it up and starts to break. And then watch the read there by Anthony Davis at 6'11", making a nice soft first half. So it seems like there's always someone else to pick up the team.
Hamilton blocked by Jones at the rim.
Hamilton just relaxed enough to give Terrence Jones a chance.
And then Terrence Jones going end to end. Timeout LSU. Kentucky's largest lead at 13 points. Davis and Jones both going end to end. Deep. Jarvis Bernardo has the NCAA record. There's Terrence Jones, and how about the emotional goal? And Davis steals it away on this possession. Jones fouled on the other end, and one.
You know what Terrence Jones is doing right now? He's not only playing good, solid defense, but he's also running the floor. And right now, and getting good low post position. You see, going right to the middle of the lane, comes right up with it and finishes strong with a two-handed dunk. Then the very next possession does the exact same thing, gets the ball right underneath the basket. He's hard to stop when he's throwing the ball to the low post. He's shooting a lot of outside jump shots. Talked earlier about it. Coach Calipari always working with his team, offensively, defensively. Davis gets a little half hit on baseline.
That's right. You weren't here last year when I was telling last year's team about it, because those guys are in the NBA. High draft picks, as Anthony Davis
assumes they know something and doesn't tell them, then he says it's his fault. But once he tells them, then he expects them to catch on. Davis, another outstanding play.
The steal, and then he is fouled hard. That's an intentional. What's now called a flagrant one.
John Calipari was out on the floor immediately. Didn't like the fact that one of his star players was taken down.
So Davis, for the second time today, down on the floor, and gets a helping hand from John Calipari, getting him back to his feet. So play on the ball. Contact that is not a legitimate attempt to play the ball or player. That's the wording from the rule book. Meanwhile, back on the hard. Teague off the screen from Wilcher. Kyle Wilcher somehow corrals it. Davis there to help his fellow freshman.
Kentucky behind Anthony Davis's play. This time Kyle Wilcher in the low post. But Davis right there to finish. Increased. And as we saw earlier in the contest today, a little pull-up jump shot even on a drive. So really expanding his offensive game.
Lamb to Davis.
As well as that shot.
LSU tangled up in blue.
Or to just exchange baskets on the end. They've got to get some stops. They've gone to a 2-3 zone here. And you can't give Kentucky offensive boards or Darius Miller wide open three-pointers like he just knocked that one down.
Deron Lamb. Well, tough to zone when Miller and Lamb are knocking down their threes. Yep. Now there's another LSU timeout.
And you see with that lineup with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist able to come out on top and handle the basketball, moves Lamb back down to a shooting position. Darius Miller can also handle it on top. So a lot of versatility in the offensive lineup for Kentucky.
Yeah.
So here you see Michael Kidd-Gilchrist swinging the ball wide open. Darius Miller, and very easy shot. He makes it. And then Kidd-Gilchrist going back to top the other way this time to Deron Lamb. And he also,
as you'd want from a freshman point guard, he was the first on the court and the last to leave today. Anthony Davis gets another follow dunk, but takes another pop. This one an inadvertent. You need an ice pack at the end of this one. Takes one more pop on a follow dunk. Kentucky by 22. Right? Marcus Teague attacks the rim. Jones and Davis volleyball, the rebound, and Terrence Jones finally gets a stick. Lamb gets right past Bass.
No, that has to game where they'll gain more confidence. And now going back home to Lexington, obviously they play very well in Rupp Arena. They haven't lost there in 46 games, I believe, is the streak right now.
Well, John Calipari and Trent Johnson exchanging handshakes as the second stick off. It's going to go down as a 74-50 Kentucky win over LSU. Wildcats are 21-1, 7-0. John Calipari and the freshman from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Anthony Hickey, share a handshake as well. Anthony Davis with his 11th double-double of the season, 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks.